Are you trying to help your son secure the best college football scholarships, but constantly hearing that the portal is hurting his chances? Are you overwhelmed by the competition or worried that a lack of connections will hold him back? Well, today I'm giving you exclusive access to one of my presentations from Next Play Live, where I shared the exact system our seniors used last year, where 83% earned college football scholarships and 42% went D1, even though some were introverts, underdogs, or from small towns. At the end of the day, I want you to sleep well at night knowing your son knows exactly what steps to take to get noticed, to market himself, and confidently communicate with college coaches. And quickly, if you don't know who I am, my name is Richie Contartesi, founder of Next Play, and I earned a D1 football scholarship in the SEC at Ole Miss at just 5'7" and 150 pounds, and now I make these videos to share my journey and lessons that I learned with you so you can live your dream as well. Let's jump right into it.
Everyone, I would love for you to make some noise, give a round of applause for the founder of Next Play, my boy, Richie Contartesi.
Promise I'm not that cool, not that special. But listen, I'm super grateful.
He is
I'm super grateful that all of you are here. The most valuable commodity that you have is time. And the fact that you're willing to be here and spend your time as parents to learn this process to support your kids is absolutely extraordinary. There's a difference between everyone out there because they all do the same exact thing. They send the same template and emails.
Sure.
They do the same outreach approaches, the same marketing, and they look exactly the same. And when coaches see it, they disregard it. But all of you are here because you want to actually learn to separate yourself, to be different than everybody else, and to spend an entire weekend here with our team is an absolute honor, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity. So give yourselves a round of applause for you. So this first segment that I'm going to share with you today is real simple. How to secure college football scholarships in the portal era without connections. Oh, you gotta go with equal, right? And on top of that, even if you're an introvert, underdog, or from a small town, right? How do you do this if you're shy? If you don't like potentially getting in front of in big rooms and speaking to coaches, and right? So we're gonna talk and keep you focused and talk through a process that's very step by step that you can execute to get noticed by coaches, to get in front of coaches, and to properly sell yourself to coaches, all right? And in this short session that I have in the beginning, I'm gonna walk you through the process from start to beginning so that all of you understand the concepts that we're gonna be teaching for the next 2 days, okay? Because the next 2 days are gonna be workshop style, right? We're not just gonna hear and listen like a YouTube video, right? You can go to my YouTube channel, all right? This is about implementation and execution. Okay? That sound good? Yes? All right, good. Perfect. So the 3 secrets that I'm going to walk you through. 3 secrets. Secret number 1. How to get noticed by the most coaches possible, even if you don't have connections. By a show of hands, how many of you heard that in order to get college football scholarships, you got to have connections. You got to know people. Show of hands. Oh, come on. That's it? Okay, good. Yes, everyone says that. No, you don't need to have connections. Now, in full transparency, does it help? Yes. Right? But do you need it? No. No. And all of you are here for a reason, because you're willing to do the work necessary where you don't need to have connections. Yes? All right, beautiful. Secret number 2, how to get the most coaches interested, even if you're an introvert, if you're shy, if you don't like getting in front of coaches and selling yourself, right? I talk to athletes all the time, and I don't really feel, I'm more of a humble type of player. I don't really want to get in front of coaches and sell myself. Well, I'm going to show you how you can do that without feeling salesy, and if you're shy, we're going to get through that, right? Secret number 3, how to close the best scholarships despite the NIL portal changes. By a show of hands, how many of you have heard that I'm not going to be able to get a scholarship, or you've heard from coaches or from other parents of your other players that it's way, way harder to get a scholarship because of the portal. Okay, I'm going to completely debunk that. It's an absolute BS excuse that people make because they don't want to do the work, or they're doing stuff everybody else out there is doing and not getting results and then complaining, right? But is anybody in this room an excuse maker? No? All right, good. So we're not saying that it's because of the portal. So here we go. Just quick background for some of you that don't know who I am. My dream as a kid was to play big-time college football and run out of the tunnel in front of 100,000 screaming fans. By a show of hands, how many of you have a dream of playing big-time college football? Okay, good. I just want to make sure I'm in the right room. Or basketball. All right, good job. So, unfortunately, if you can't tell from where you're sitting, I look more like a freaking chess player than a real football player. But look, I know there's some pictures and stuff like that, but I'm just a regular kid. I had a lot of challenges growing up. Both of my parents are here, and I'm really lucky to have them and that they're here. But when you're younger, parents got divorced. I ended up failing 5th grade, and I stopped growing at 5'7". It's a problem when you're going to play big time college football. Luckily, I've had some really, really good mentors in my life, and what I'm going to share with you today is what I learned from my mentors. I didn't make all this up. I'm not that smart. But because of the people in my life and the processes and things that I followed, I did it the hardest way possible. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do it the way I did. All right? And that's partially why I do what I do today. I know exactly what every single one of you players in this room, what every single one of you is going through, all of the emotions that you go through on a day-to-day, the practice, frustration from players going in front of you, frustration in playing time, frustrations of having a bad game and a bad practice. I've been through. But I also know what it feels like to run a tunnel in front of 102,000 people in Alabama and run out to the field and play in the game. And to have my parents there to watch me do it on a full ride scholarship. So I've seen it all. And I want you all to feel that too. That's why I'm up here today. After my football career, I played arena football for a year. Unfortunately, got hurt. Didn't work out for me. Went into sales, because that's what you do when you're an athlete, right, parents? You get into sales. And worked my way up, my first sales job. Won this cool belt for being the top person of the company. Pretty cool. And one of my mentors said, Richie, you should write a book. And I was like, I failed 5th grade because I couldn't read and write. Now I gotta write a book. But I went in. I went in on it, wrote a book, and people, I guess, liked it. And it ended up doing pretty well. So after I read the book, got offered to speak. And over the past 7-8 years, I've spoken at over 450 high schools, and I've spoken around the world in countries like Kuwait, and in Canada, and have worked with companies like IBM, Hewlett-Packard, sharing the same exact accountability system that I will share with you parents as well. Because at the end of the day, and all of you are going to learn this, you are all now officially in sales. Okay? How many of you, by a show of hands, have sales experience? Okay, good. How many? Good. So parents, how many players have sales experience? Dads, love it. All right, good. Listen, you're all in sales. Okay? You're marketers and you're salespeople now. And so, I'm a fan of transparency, right? I was speaking on stages, working with companies that pay me a dumb amount to speak, to do workshops. And almost 2 years ago, I rented an office here in Las Vegas, and the person that runs this entire office, who's actually said, Richie, my son really wants to play college football. Can you talk to him? And I've had parents tell me this for the last 10 years. Talk to my kid, mentor him, help him. And I've just been so busy. And he said, you just talk to my son. His son came in my office, who's also here. And I talked to him for about 30 minutes. And he left my office, and I was like, man, this is what I'm supposed to do. But right then I realized the corporate stuff, all that is good, pays the bills. But after that conversation, I was like, this is it. And so over the past year and a half, we've went from one conversation to our first national conference. We work with players all over the country. And my mission today is to impact 1 million high school football players through football scholarships by 2034. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Because that's why I'm here. I know. 83% of our kids this year got college football scholarships. 42% are going to Division I. From following the process I'm going to share with you right now. So, scholarship disclaimer. You're not going to leave here tomorrow with scholarships. Is that fair? Yes? It's not going to happen. But I do want you to imagine what it could be for you. And I feel extremely confident in this. And everything that I've learned from my experiences, from the coach we have on our team who has 15 years of Division I college football experience, that if you have varsity game film and at least a 3.0 GPA, and I know all of you don't in here, you can earn a college football scholarship. Is it going to be at Alabama? Maybe not. But you can do it. If you do what everyone else does, it's going to be really hard. You do what I'm going to share with you right now, it's going to be much simpler for yourself. But we'll be clear. There's a difference between simple and easy. Okay? What I'm going to share with you is simple, but it's definitely not easy. Is that fair? Yes? That's why you're here. Yes? Awesome. So, if you want to achieve success, you need to find a way to mock those who have already succeeded. All right? You can make it up, or you can mock those that have already went through the process. Like Cooper King, who's here today. Let's all give Cooper King a round of applause. I'm really, really proud of him. Really proud of him. And you guys are going to hear more of his story later on today. Let's start here. We got to think different. In order to get different results, we have to think differently than everybody else. Is that fair? Yes? Perfect. So, you are all now officially businessmen. You're what?
Businessman.
You're what? You're businessmen. All right? You're no longer just football players. Do high school football players now get paid through the NIL? Yes or no? Yes. You're a business. Do college players get paid? Yes or no? Yes. It's a business. So, you have to treat yourself like a business. It's no longer you go out into the field, you get a great trainer, and work on your craft, and that's all. It's you get on the field, you work on your craft, you're in the weight room, and you gotta be a great marketer, you gotta be a great salesperson, and you gotta have the mindset to go after what it is that you want at all costs, relentlessly, if you want to beat the competition. Because the competition when I went through was strong, but it's insane now. Would you all agree? It's real. So we're businessmen. So what does that mean? There's 3 components simplified to a business. You've got marketing, you've got sales, and you've got the product. What are all of you players? What are you? What is it? Product, yes. What's your first name? Carter? Let's give Carter 2 claps. We'll get better at that over the weekend. Let's give Carter 2 claps. Good job, Carter. You're the product. That's a third of the business. All right? If you're in the top ESPN 300, you can be the product. You don't need to learn it. You don't need to market yourself. You don't need to sell. You don't need to confidently communicate and build relationships with college coaches. You don't. They're after you. By a show of hands, there's anybody in the top ESPN 300 in here? Besides Max, who will be there at the end of the season, probably. Anybody? So that means the other 60% is marketing and sales. How to market yourself properly and how to sell yourself to college coaches. And selling yourself isn't just up there pitching. That's not going to work. It's confidently communicating. It's understanding what the coach wants and then helping that coach get what they want. So let's jump into this. Secret 1, how to get noticed by the most coaches possible, even if you don't have connections. Step number 1, okay? Choose programs to target where you have the best chance to earn a scholarship. All right? If you're 5'7", 155 pounds, we're probably not going to put Alabama on your big board. All right? That doesn't mean that we can't shoot from 1 or 2, but 50% of your time should be spent on schools that fit within your specific criteria that will give you the best chance. The other 30% of your time will be on what we call push schools. Schools that are a little bit outside of where you project. However, you just need a coach or 2 to believe in you. And then the other 20% of your time will shoot for the top, shoot for the stars. But here's the deal. Here's why we do this. I want you to shoot for schools that are outside of where you stand right now, because it's going to teach you how to think different. There's one thing, I will never let you shoot for average. Only. We're going to shoot for the top. You're going to think differently. You're going to wake up differently. You're going to act differently. You're going to perform differently. And then we'll end up somewhere close to it. Because I'll share with you here in a few, there is no more failure in your life anymore. There's only your next play. And with that mindset, we can shoot for the top and not worry about failure. All right, step number 2, we got to properly set up your highlight tape. Again, just a quick reminder, all of these steps we're going to go through over the course of this weekend in depth. Right, this is just an overview. And then 3, post and engage consistently on social as proof and to nurture relationships with coaches. Okay, we post on social media as proof because you're going to do outreach to coaches, and then they're going to want to come and check you out. And they're going to go to your social media, and that's why we post. Most athletes don't post because they're worried, like, oh, well, I'm not going to get enough likes, and what are my friends going to think, and I'm not going to have enough attention, and you're not going to worry about that. None of that matters. All right? And then we're going to have a really cool segment later on today on how to use social media to get coaches to find you. All right? That's actually out of my area of expertise, so I brought in an expert for that. All right? So, some of you are like, oh, I live in a small town, or I don't have connections, or I don't listen. When I was going through this process, I had to spend thousands of dollars mailing DVDs out. All right? You're like, dang, you're old. I'm not that old. Today, it doesn't matter where you live. Everyone can access you the same. It's an excuse. It's an excuse. All right? Secret number 2, how to be most interested, even if you're an introvert. All right? Some of you are shy. Some of you don't want to get in front of sales coaches. I get it. I hear you. Well, the process I'm going to teach you right now and throughout this weekend will keep you focused on certain things, and that's all you need to do, so you don't have to worry about it. However, a lot of people will say, oh, my coach will do the outreach, my coach will connect with people for me, this person will do, Max, is anybody going to sell you as good as you? They might put your tape in front of them, but are they going to sell you as good as you? Cooper, did anybody sell you better than you? No. You sell you. It's your responsibility. It's not your parents' responsibility. It's yours. Because after football, y'all are going to have the next thing you want to accomplish and the next thing. And it's your responsibility, not to blame anybody else, not to put it on anybody else, but it's to get up, go out, and get what you deserve, get what you want. Are you all with me on that? I don't know about you, but I would never put my success in someone else's hands. Hey, Richie, you're putting on your first conference ever. I've never been on I've spoken at a lot of conferences. Hey, you should just go hire a company and they'll handle it. They'll do the tickets and they'll do this. By a show of hands, how many of you did I speak to before you bought a ticket in here? Put your hands up. Look around. I won't put my success in anybody else's hands. It's mine. And the same goes for you. You want to play college football? It's in your hands. Not your coach, not your parents. They're here to support you. You're here because you want it. Take it. Y'all with me? Does that make sense? Yeah. So here's the process that we follow. I'm an introvert. I'm shy. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Listen, when you're doing your initial outreach, you're not pitching coaches. You're not sending your highlight video. All you need to do is find out who's the area coach. Why is this important? This is everything because you're not wasting the coach's time. Butch Davis will tell you, Brian will tell you, listen, if coaches are getting highlight tapes from players that they're not recruiting in their area, they can't. They don't have the time and they get annoyed. But if you can you find out who the area coach is, and then when you pitch that area coach, you say, I know you recruit my area because I did the work, they'll watch you. You're going to have a much better chance of them watching your video. Does that make sense? Can everybody, whether you're shy, you're an introvert, you're not shy, by show of hands, how many of you can you reach out to a coach and just ask, who's the coach responsible for recruiting my area? Show of hands. Yes. You with me? See, show of hands up. Perfect. Easy. All right, good. So step one, find out who the area coach is at each school that you're targeting. Step two, you pitch each area coach, watch your video. They don't need to know all about you, your whole life, all your accomplishments, everything that you've done. I know you're wonderful, but you don't need to send coaches that. The only thing you need to do is to get them to watch your video. I will walk through with you throughout the speech on exactly how to do that. 3, build relationship, nurture, and follow up with coaches. This is one of my favorite examples. Hey, so how many coaches did you reach out to? I reached out to about 15 coaches. Oh, okay, perfect, cool. Did you keep track of them? No. Did you follow up with them? No. The magic comes in the follow-up. I'll just say the first name. I'm not sure if he's here. This Blair Brady followed up with this coach, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. 5 times. And he got a positive response back. Not mad, not upset, a positive one. But Rich, annoying coaches. You're not annoying coaches unless you do it every single day. Right? You space them out a little. But you're not annoying them. They're busy. They're thankful. We had a player one time that the coach literally said, because he was younger than the age limit to be able to talk, he said, just keep calling me until I answer, and eventually I'll answer. That's how it is. That makes sense? Y'all with me? Yes? Step 4, only attend camps where you have spoken with the coach, they watch your film, and they're willing to meet with you after. By a show of hands, how many of you have went to a camp and then left the camp, and you're like, well, that was a waste of time. Okay, good. None of you guys to the camps? No? Right? Listen, the process we're going to share with you is how to communicate with the coach when you get a camp invite, solidify that camp invite, and then confirm that it's going to be worth your time because they're going to keep jacked. Okay? Confidence comes over time through role-playing, practice, and execution. So if you want to be able to sell yourself confidently, what do you have to do? Boom. What was your first name? One person. What was your first name? Hillary? All right, let's give Hillary a clap. What is it, y'all? Practice. You want to be good at confidently and humbly communicating and selling yourself? You got to practice. You can't show up to the camp and have not practiced and expect to sell yourself. Because none of you would ever get on a game film or game field every single week without practice. But on the marketing and sales side, we do it out of practice. So we're going to practice this weekend. Is that fair? Yes? All right, good. Secret 3, how to close the best scholarship despite the NIL and portal changes. Here we go. Here are the numbers. All right? Most of the video on this, I get a lot of people not happy about it. These are the biggest comments I get, but it's the reality. 13,079 scholarships become available every single year. How many? 13. Yeah. Okay. Portal activity. Approximately 8,699 players entered the transfer portal. All right? 54% found new teams. 46% scholarships became available. All right? Most people are like, oh, the portal hurts me. Listen, Brian will tell you right now, there's players, they entered the portal and they just screwed themselves. Because there ain't no scholarship waiting for them. And if they don't sign, they're out of the job. Right, Brian?
Absolutely. They leave my school here.
He had guys at Arkansas get in the portal, think they were signing somewhere else. No one signed them. They didn't come back. They lost their scholarship. Gone. That means if we take the original 13,000 and we add the 4,000 that aren't going to get their scholarship back, that's now 17,000 scholarships. Additional 500 to walk-on incentives and NIL deals. So I don't know if you know this, but schools are now just using NIL money as scholarships. Right? How is Ole Miss, y'all are going to hear from Lane Kiffin tomorrow, how is Ole Miss have 22 guys in their senior signing class? They do have guys leaving the portal, but they double the portal intake than outtake. These guys are on NIL deals as walk-ons, covering scholarships. And let's say on average that's about 500, right? So new scholarships, we added 500 to the 17,080. So new scholarships represent a 33 increase compared to the original 13,000. There's more scholarships available every year than before the portal. Does this make sense? Are you all with me? Yes? There's more. So anybody out there from this point on that says, oh, the portal's killing my chances of getting a scholarship? No, you're killing your chances of getting a scholarship because you're not doing anything. And if you are, you're not doing the right things in the right way. All right? Brian sent me this. Here's adding. The NCAA is expected to approve increased scholarships across multiple sports. Football is now about to add 20 additional to their 85. So now you can take that number, 17,000, and it's going to go up even more. So, step 1, always know where you're at in the sales process. Has the coach seen your video? Has he not seen your video? It's going to depict what you do next. And we'll bring it up over time. But here's how you can simply and confidently communicate with college coaches. You're going to follow this system. It's called the WIN system. What is it called? It's a great. Good to see you, man. It's called the what? WIN system. The WIN system. How does it work? I'm communicating with the coach. The first thing I got to find out is, what does that coach want? What does that coach want? It's not about you, right, Adam? I'm not going to go up to a coach and start pitching myself. How many of you, by a show of hands, enjoy when someone comes to your house, knocks on the door, just starts pitching you something? Anybody enjoy that? No, even college coaches. All right? So when we communicate with coaches, we're going to take them through this process. We'll dive deep. We're going to role play this. What does that coach want? What are you looking for as a player, as a receiver? What's your goal this year? And then what's the issue? Well, coach, talk to me. What have been some of the challenges with some of the receivers? Why are you looking for that as a receiver? And then the coach is going to tell you. So the coach just told you what he wants. Then the coach just told you why he doesn't have it. And then all you're going to do is find out what's the next play. And what is the next play? The next play is to recruit you, Carter. That's the next play. Now you can pitch him and share with him why you feel you can help him get what he wants and help overcome the challenge or the issue of why he doesn't have it. Does that make sense? Y'all with me? Yes? We're gonna go deeper in this throughout our day. And don't always get a yes or a no. Always get a what? Always get a yes or a no, right? We don't let coaches leave on the fence. Are they interested in you or not? If they're interested, great. We're going to continue to pursue it. If they're not, boom, you take it off your big board. It doesn't mean you have to get a yes or a no of whether you're on scholarship, but they're going to give you a scholarship. Are you interested or are you not? Tell them. Players are too scared to ask because they don't want to get hit with failure, rejection. No, you're not going to worry about that anymore. You're not going to have to worry about rejection anymore. And I'd like to, just share with you a quick story as to why you're not going to have to worry about failure and you're not going to have to worry about rejection anymore. I was in 5th grade, and I remember I was walking through the front door of my house, and both my parents were sitting at the kitchen table, and I said, "I'm gonna sit down." So I went and sat down and sat at this table, and I could see something was wrong. And my dad said, "Your mom and I decided we're getting divorced." And I remember when I got up from the table, I just felt empty, like lost, like I wasn't sure how to feel. And not much longer than that, I really struggled in school. I had ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, HDTV, ESPN. I struggled, but it wasn't much longer after that. I walked into my classroom, and my teacher said to me, she said, "I've been telling you all year that if you don't make a change, you're going to fail. And I reviewed your grade this morning and you failed." And I remember walking out of that room and I was so down on myself. I really didn't even want to be here anymore. And the only thing that I loved to do was play football, and I really struggled with that. I played receiver, and as all of you know, you got to be able to catch the ball, and I couldn't. So a coach came into my life and completely changed it. One practice, I dropped another pass, and my coach came up to me and said, "Richie, what are you thinking about when the ball's in the air?" I said, "I don't know. I'm thinking about the last pass that I dropped, and I'm thinking about, what are the players going to think about me when I drop another one? What are my parents going to think about me? What if I actually catch the ball and I don't know what to do with it?" He goes, "I watch you buy gloves. I watch you buy new cleats. You get here early and leave late." He said, "But until you focus on that ball in front of you, you're never going to catch it." And then he asked me the question that changed my life forever. He said, Richie, he said, what's the most important play now? What's the most important play? And I was frustrated and I was upset, and he nudges me and he said, the next play. He said, don't worry about the last play. Don't worry about the fact that we dropped the ball. Let's focus on the ball in front of you. What are you going to do this time? I said, well, this frustrated. I said, I'll catch the ball in my hands instead of letting it get to my bottom. And he goes, okay, well, how are you going to do that? I said, well, I'll put my hands out like this. And he grabbed my hands and he said, no, you're going to put your hands like this. And he said, Richie, when are you going to do this? I said, the next time the ball's in the air. And I got up and I walked back to the huddle. And as I was going back to the huddle, I was like, I started to feel better. I started to realize, like, maybe the last play didn't matter. And maybe what happens after doesn't matter. And what people think about me doesn't matter. Maybe the only thing that matters is the ball in front of me, right now. And I realized, like, what if I just got to the line? And when I got to the line, all I thought about was just running a really good route. Just running the best route. And then once I was done with running the route, all I had to do was worry about one thing, catching the ball. Not what parents think, not what people think, not anything, not of that, just that ball. If I just focused on that ball and caught it, then the only thing I focused on was running and making the next happiness and running down the field. Just one step at a time. One step. And some of you right now are like, I've got a scholarship, and I hear it. But there's about 10,000 steps to get. And having the next play mindset is one step at a time. What this coach did to me, and he had no idea what he was doing, and he did this to the team, is he completely removed failure from my life. And he removed it because there is no failure. There's only the one. The next play. And for all of you in here that are worried about being rejected, that are worrying about failing on whether you're going to get the scholarship or not, you're not a failure, because you're going to develop the skills, you're going to form the habits that are going to change the rest of your life. That are going to allow you to do anything you want. You want to throw a conference? Cool. You want to write a book? You want to start a business? Cool. You want to move all the way up in your job? Cool. There is no failure. There's only your next play. So what does the play consist of? And this is big. We're going to do this throughout the weekend. Every play that we give you, or you give yourself, or parents who give your son when he's down, when he's frustrated, hey, next play, let's go. What's that play going to be? We're reshifting the focus from things didn't work out to I want to the next play. Every play has to answer 3 questions. How many? 3. First question, what are you going to do? Second question, how are you going to do it? Third question, what are you going to do about it? That coach came up to me when I was down. I was frustrated. I was ready to give up. And he said, Richie, what can you do differently? Catch it with my hands instead of letting it get to my body. How are you going to do it? Well, I'll put my hands like this. And he coached me. He grabbed my hands and said, no, you're like this. What are you going to do about it? Next ball. Boom. Shift my focus from down set to boom, I'm moving forward. Because there's only one way we're moving, which is what? Forward. Yes? Awesome. And then we go. Other people, they think about the past, they think about things didn't work out, they think about the future. What happens is, this creates really bad habits. It's okay. Oh, is it not going on? Okay. Yeah, they create, let me just turn this on and off. Bad habits, right? And this is why you see a lot of people, they make excuses, they procrastinate, they blame, and they have self-doubt. And I'll tell you right now, if you're in here and you're looking at this, and maybe I have made some excuses. Maybe I have pushed off sending the emails, making the DMs, posting consistently. Maybe I am blaming the portal and blaming other things. And maybe you're sitting here right now with a little self-doubt. I know I do. But I'm here to tell you right now that all these are bad habits. You're not an excuse maker. You just have a bad habit of making excuses. You're not a procrastinator. You just have a bad habit of pushing things off. You're not a blamer. You just have a bad habit of not taking responsibility. And you're not someone with self-doubt. You just have a really bad habit of not believing in yourself. And that's going to change this weekend. That's going to change. This is an example of insane focus, which is what the next play does.
You can have 37-year-old in Cincinnati. It's nothing but the past, nothing but the future. It's right now we're preparing for Cincinnati. You know the town, you're not here to. We're getting ready for Cincinnati. We got to turn the page. I mean, we're to sit there and talk about the Kansas City game for the rest of the season any more than we would talk about any of our big wins for day after day after day. You know, it's 24 hours after the game. You got to move on.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to ask you, you got a tough time, right?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
I love that. Listen, what if you lived your life that way? What if you sent a message and a coach responded back to you, and said, I'm not interested. I'm on to the next one. But what most people do is they wallow in it. And they spiral. And then they don't do the next one. And then they don't do the next one. And then they end up not getting to where they want to go. And then after football, they get a broke, deadbeat job. And then after that, they sit on the couch and they watch football and they drink beer and they piss away their life. And then say, this excuse and this excuse. Not this one. Way too much opportunity. We're going to stay laser focused on what? The next play. One play at a time. One play. Y'all with me? Yes? Yeah. Wrap it up here. All right? So, parents, here's the simplest way. We're almost done. Yeah, I'm almost done with you.
This is not 5 years.
For the parents, I'm going to share with you right now the process, the system. Like, I'm a huge systems person, as you all see. Everything we do has a system. The system that we use to hold the athletes we work with accountable. All right? There's 4 steps to the system, and I highly recommend, if you like, to use this as well when you're at home. Okay? Here's the power of this system. Accountability, right? Accountability to what they're supposed to be doing. Accountability to focusing on their next play. Here's what happens. Here's what happens when you're accountable. Having an idea or a goal, 10% more likely to do it. Consciously deciding how to turns it on, okay? Consciously deciding how to do it, 25%. There we go. Consciously deciding that you'll do it, 25%. Deciding when you'll do it, 40%. Planning how to do it, 50%. Committed to someone that you'll do it, 5%. Having a specific accountability appointment with someone you've committed to every week, 95% greater chance. 95%. Are you every week taking a step back, looking at your business, and determining your next play and being held accountable to that every week? Because that's what it takes. If you want a 95% greater chance. Are you all with me? Yes? So here's the process. First thing that we do, every single week. What are the wins for the week? Really simple. What went well? How many of you have ever had a really bad week? Recruiting process by show of hands. Yeah. Can you find a win out of that? There's always a win. But you gotta find. Second thing, where did we fall short? What is it? Was it in the posting? What is it in the email outreach? Was it on the conversations that were had? Where are we falling short? Step 3, what's your next play? What's your next play for this week that you can focus on and move forward? And we recalibrate. Boom. what does Tom Brady do with Bill Belichick when they won all their Super Bowls? Tom Brady went to Bill Belichick's office. He went to his office every single week. And they would go down and they would go over the wins for the week, what went well. They'd look at their data, the analytics. They'd watch the game film and determine where they fell short, and then create a game plan for the next week. And then they were held accountable to it. And they just went around and around and around. This is the same process that you can follow in anything. But this is the process that we follow with athletes every week. What went well? What were your numbers? Where did you fall short? What's going to be your next play for this focus on? It's too easy to lose focus. Laser focus. And then we're going to hold you accountable to it. Did you do it? Yes or no? That makes sense? Yes?
I hope you got value from this presentation. I went ahead and I created a checklist of all the steps that I explained during that presentation that you and your son can use to get the best college football scholarships possible. Now, I made it free as always, and you can find it in the description below this video. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos just like it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And if you'd like to watch a video on exactly how to post, when to post, and what to say when you post on social media to get college coaches' attention, then you're going to want to watch this video right here.